I bet you and I have a lot in common. We are not the strongest, smartest, or richest people we know. We are not the fastest or the most connected. We are not the best looking or the most talented. We don't have the best genetics, but what we do have is something that a lot of those other people don't have: the willingness to work. If there's one unavoidable truth in this world, it's that there is no substitute for putting in the work. There's no shortcut or growth hack or magic pill that can get you around the hard work of doing your job well, of winning something that you care about, or of making your dreams come true. People have tried to cut corners and skip steps in this process for as long as hard work has been hard. Eventually, those people either fall behind or they get left in our dust because working your ass off is the only thing that works 100% of the time for 100% of the things worth achieving. Take something that most of us can relate to: becoming wealthy. It's pretty remarkable when you realize that some of the least happy people you will ever meet are lottery winners and people with old family money. By some estimates, 70% of lottery winners go broke within 5 years. Among the generationally wealthy, rates of depression, suicide, and alcohol and drug abuse all tend to be higher than for the middle class or the people who worked hard to build their fortunes. Well, there are a lot of reasons this is the case, but a big one is the fact that new money, lotto winners, and old money rich people never got any of the benefits that come from working hard or working towards a big goal. They never got to experience how good it feels to make money. They only know what it's like to have it. They've never got to learn the important lessons that struggle and failure produce. And they definitely didn't get to reap the rewards from successfully applying those lessons to their dream. Now imagine if Sir Edmund Hillary had been dropped at the summit of Mount Everest by helicopter instead of trekking to it over 2 months in the spring of 1953. Now, do you think that the view from the top would have been as beautiful? Do you think that he would have given a shit about the other small mountain that he saw in the distance when he was up there? Of course not. If you don't get to experience what it feels like to push yourself, to do more than you thought that you were capable of, and to know that the pain that you put yourself through will lead to growth that you alone are responsible for creating, then you will never appreciate what you have the way the same thing is appreciated by someone who earned it or who worked for it. See, work works. That's the bottom line. No matter what you do, no matter who you are, my entire life has been shaped by that single idea. Work, work, work. In my quest to become the greatest bodybuilder ever, I trained 5 hours a day for 15 years. When I got to America, I took my workout up a level and I invented the double split routine, where I trained 2.5 hours in the morning and 2.5 hours at night, just so that I could get 2 full workouts in each day. I actually needed 2 sets of workout partners to pull this off. Franco Colombo was my morning workout partner and Ed Corney or Dave Draper in the evening, because no one wanted to train that hard. They weren't as crazy like me. At my peak, on my heaviest day, I was moving 40,000 pounds of weights per workout. Think about that. This is the equivalent of a loaded semi-truck. Now, most people didn't want to work like that. It hurt too much, but I loved all of those reps. I wanted all that pain, so much so that my first trainer in Austria thought that I was a freak. And he probably was right. But you see, to me, pain meant growth. That's as simple as that. Now, when I retired from bodybuilding and transitioned into acting, I took those 5 daily training hours and allocated them to the work of becoming a leading man. I took acting classes, English classes, speech classes, accent removal classes. I may still want my money back for those classes. I took countless meetings and read hundreds of scripts, the ones that were sent to me for consideration and many others that I could just get my hands onto so that I could really learn the difference between a bad script, a good script, and a great script. Then there was the specific work for each movie, beyond simply reading the script and knowing my lines. Like, for instance, on Twins, it was dancing and improv lessons. On Terminator, it was becoming like a machine. Blindfolded myself until I could do every gun stunt with my eyes closed, and shooting so many rounds at the range that I no longer blinked when the guns were firing. On Terminator 2, it was practicing the shotgun cocking flip. I did it so many times that my knuckles started bleeding, for what amounted actually 2 seconds of screen time. I didn't complain. It was all part of the work required to break the mold and to be a new kind of a leading man, an action hero. And then I took that philosophy into politics. During my campaign in 2003, for instance, I devoured briefing books on every issue that was important to the state of California. Each one was filled with detailed memos written by top experts about obscure topics that I never imagined I would need to think about, let alone care about or potentially make decisions about. Things like micro-stamping on gun ammunition and nurse-to-patient staffing ratios in the county hospitals. I mean, who thinks about that stuff? But always had not to learn that. After my morning workout down the hill in Venice, I opened the door of my home to anyone who was willing to teach me about governing and about policy and about things that matter to Californians. I was committed to living up to and following through on the promises that I've made to the voters during my campaign to be a different kind of politician. So I took these 5 training hours that I'd previously dedicated to bodybuilding and then to the craft of acting and turned them into the kind of immersion program for the language of politics and government. Every day I studied and practiced like a foreign exchange student trying to learn a local language, reviewing my notes over and over again and then speaking from memory until the words came natural. The purpose of all of this hard work, all of the reps, all of the pain, all of the follow-through, all of the long hours, was the same in every phase of my career. And it's the same for anything special that you ever want to do in your life. Whether it's owning a business, getting married, being a farmer, becoming a watchman, traveling the world, earning a raise and a promotion, going to the Olympics, managing an assembly line, starting a nonprofit organization, whatever it is. The purpose is to be prepared. It is to be ready to perform when the spotlight turns on, when the opportunity knocks, when the cameras roll, and when a crisis arrives. Now, there is value and meaning in doing the hard work for its own sake. And don't get me wrong, but the real reason is so that when the moment arrives for your dream to come true and for your vision to become real, you don't flinch and you don't falter.